The sky above the small farming land turned dark without warning. At first, Armin thought it was a storm, but storms did not move like that. The clouds were too sharp, too straight, too alive. He stood in the middle of his dry field, holding a small bag of grain in his hand. His clothes were old, his face tired. Life had not been easy for him. Every day was a fight for food, for water, for survival. But today, something was wrong. A deep sound filled the air. Not thunder, something bigger, something watching. Armin slowly looked up. And his heart stopped. Above him, huge shapes floated in the sky. Not one, not two, dozens of them. Giant black ships, silent, but powerful. They covered the sun, turning day into shadow. His hands began to shake. Aliens. He whispered. He had heard stories. Everyone had. But no one had ever seen them this close. He took a step back, then another. His first thought was simple: run. But before he could move, something even stranger happened. From one of the ships, a soft blue light came down like a beam. It touched the ground not far from him, near the edge of his field. The air felt heavy. Armin could not breathe properly. Something was coming. His legs felt weak, but he forced himself to stay standing. His eyes stayed locked on the light. Slowly, shapes appeared inside it. 3 figures. Tall, thin, not human. Their skin looked pale, almost gray. Their eyes were large and dark. Their bodies looked weak. Too weak. They stepped out of the light and onto the ground. Armin froze. This was it. This was how he died. The aliens looked at him. He waited for them to attack, but they didn't. Instead, one of them stumbled. It fell to its knees. Another tried to hold it, but it was shaking too. They were not strong. They were not dangerous. They were starving. Armin frowned, confused. This made no sense. These creatures came from giant ships, powerful ships. But they looked like they had not eaten in days or weeks. The third alien slowly looked at Armin. Its eyes were not full of anger. They were full of pain. And fear. Armin felt something strange in his chest. He had seen that look before. In himself. Many nights, he had gone to sleep hungry. Many days he had worked without food. He knew that pain. He knew that silence. He looked down at the small bag in his hand. It was all he had left, his last food. If he gave it away, he would have nothing. No food for tonight. Maybe no food for tomorrow. He could die. He looked back at the aliens. One of them was now lying on the ground, not moving. The others were breathing slowly, like they had no strength left. Armin swallowed hard. His mind was screaming at him. Run. Hide. Save yourself. But his heart said something else. They are just like you. He whispered softly, slowly, carefully. He took a step forward. The aliens reacted. Their bodies tensed. One of them raised its hand slightly, like it was ready to defend. But it was too weak to fight. Armin stopped. He did not want to scare them. He slowly lifted the bag of grain. His hands were shaking. I don't want to hurt you, he said. Even though he knew they could not understand him, he opened the bag. The smell of food spread in the air. The aliens reacted immediately. Their eyes changed. Hope. Hunger. Desperation. Armin took another step forward. This was dangerous. Very dangerous. One wrong move, and they could kill him, or maybe the ships above could destroy everything. He looked up again. The giant ships were still there. Watching. Waiting. His heart beat faster. This was bigger than him. Much bigger. But still. He walked closer. Step by step. Until he was only a few feet away from them. He slowly placed the bag on the ground. Then he stepped back. The aliens stared at the food. No one moved. The moment felt long, heavy, silent. Then one of them slowly reached forward. Its hand trembled. Just as it touched the food, the sky above suddenly changed. The ships lit up. A deep, powerful sound filled the air again. Armin's eyes widened. Something was coming, something big. And suddenly, he realized helping them might be the biggest mistake of his life. The sound in the sky grew louder. Armin's heart started racing again. The giant ships above him were no longer silent. Blue lights began to move across their dark surface, like something inside them had just awakened. The air felt heavy. Dangerous. He took a small step back, his eyes still fixed on the aliens. The one closest to the food finally picked up a few grains. Its thin fingers trembled as it brought the food closer to its face. For a second, it just stared at it, like it could not believe it was real. Then it ate. Slowly. Carefully. As if every bite mattered. The other two watched. Their eyes followed every movement. Hunger burned inside them. Armin could see it clearly now. These were not invaders. They were survivors. The second alien moved closer. It looked at Armin for a moment, almost asking for permission. Armin did not move. He only nodded slightly, even though he knew they might not understand. The alien reached down and took some food. Then the third. All three began eating, slow at first, then faster. But something was still wrong. The one lying on the ground had not moved, not even once. Armin noticed it again, and a cold feeling ran through his body. That one, he whispered. The other two aliens suddenly stopped eating. They looked at their fallen companion, then back at Armin. There was fear in their eyes, real fear. Armin hesitated. He should not get involved more. He had already done enough. The ships above, the strange sounds. Everything was telling him to stop, but his feet moved anyway. Step by step, he walked closer to the one lying still. The two aliens reacted immediately. They stood in front of their friend, weak but ready. Protecting. Even in this condition, they were ready to fight. Armin raised both hands slowly. "I'm not your enemy," he said softly. His voice was calm, but inside he was shaking. For a long moment, no one moved. The sky roared above them. Then, slowly, the aliens stepped aside. Just a little. It was enough. Armin knelt down beside the fallen alien, up close. It looked even worse. Its skin was pale, almost colorless. Its breathing was slow. Too slow. Armin had seen this before. Starvation. And maybe something more. He quickly looked around and grabbed a small container of water from his side. It was not much. Just enough. For him, or for someone else. He opened it and carefully poured a little water near the alien's mouth. At first, nothing happened. Then, a small movement. The alien's lips twitched. Armin felt a small spark of hope. "Come on," he whispered. He gently lifted its head and gave it another drop. This time, the alien reacted. A weak breath. A tiny sound. The other two aliens stepped closer, watching closely. Their eyes were full of tension. Waiting. Praying. The alien on the ground slowly opened its eyes. Just a little. But it was enough. It was alive. The two standing aliens made a strange sound. Something between a whisper and a cry. Relief. Armin let out a breath. He didn't know he was holding, but the moment did not last long. The sky suddenly flashed. Bright blue light spread across the clouds. The ships above moved. Not slowly this time. Fast. Powerful. Like something had changed. Armin stood up quickly. "What now?" he muttered. One of the aliens turned toward the sky. Its expression changed. Not fear this time. Something else. Urgency. It stepped closer to Armin. Very close. Too close. Armin froze. The alien raised its hand slowly. A soft glow appeared on its palm. Armin's heart pounded hard. "Wait," he said, unsure what would happen. Next, the alien reached forward and gently touched his arm. In that moment, a sudden flash of light filled Armin's vision. His body went still. And then, he saw something. Images. Fast. Broken. A burning world. Cities destroyed. Ships crashing. People know. Aliens running, hiding, dying. A war. A terrible war. And these three. They were not just survivors. They were important. Very important. The vision ended as quickly as it began. Armin stumbled back, breathing hard. What was that? He whispered. The alien looked at him. Now. There was no fear in its eyes. Only one thing. Trust. But before Armin could say anything, a loud boom shook. The ground. Not from above. From far away. Armin turned his head. On the horizon, dust was rising. Fast-moving vehicles. Human vehicles. Military. They're coming. Armin said under his breath. The aliens also noticed. Their bodies tensed again. But this time, they did not look weak. They looked ready. Ready for something bigger. Something dangerous. Armin looked between the aliens and the approaching forces. His mind raced. If the military found them, they would not ask questions. They would attack. And if these aliens fought back, everything could be destroyed. Armin clenched his fists. He had made a choice when he gave them food. Now he had to make another one, a harder one, because this time, it was not just about helping. It was about choosing a side. The ground began to shake as the vehicles came closer. Armin could hear the engines now, loud, fast, unstoppable. Dust rose into the air, forming a thick cloud on the horizon. The military was not far. He looked at the three aliens. They were no longer focused on food. They were focused on survival. The one who had shown him the vision stepped forward. Its body still looked weak, but its eyes were sharp now, alert, ready. The two others helped their injured companion stand. It was slow, painful, but they did not leave it behind. They stayed together. Armin noticed that. Even now they did not abandon their own. He felt something shift inside him. These are not monsters, he whispered. The sound of engines grew louder. Armin turned his head. The vehicles were now visible dark shapes, moving fast across the land. Armed, dangerous. They won't listen, Armin said. They'll shoot first. The aliens looked at him. For a moment, no one moved. Then the lead alien stepped closer again. It raised its hand. Armin tensed, remembering the vision. But this time, there was no light. The alien simply pointed toward the field, then toward Armin, then toward the sky. Armin frowned. What are you trying to say? The alien repeated the motion. Slower. Field. Armin. Sky. Then it placed its hand over its chest and slightly lowered its head. Armin's eyes widened. You trust me? The alien stayed still. That was answer enough. Armin looked around quickly. There was no time. The military would be here in seconds. If they saw the aliens, everything would end in violence. He had to act. Come with me, he said quickly, waving his hand. The aliens hesitated. Their eyes moved between Armin and the approaching vehicles. Trust or risk? Finally, the lead alien gave a small nod. That was all it took. Armin turned and ran toward his small storage shed at the edge of the field. It was old, made of wood and metal, barely strong enough to stand. Behind him he could hear soft, uneven footsteps. The aliens were following. They moved fast, but their bodies struggled. Armin reached the shed and quickly opened the door. Inside, hurry, he whispered. The aliens entered one by one, helping their injured companion. Armin looked back one last time. The vehicles were almost here. No turning back now. He closed the door. Inside, it was dark. Quiet. Only the sound of breathing filled the space. Armin leaned against the wall, trying to calm his heart. You have to stay quiet, he said softly. The aliens watched him closely. They did not understand his words, but they understood his tone. Silence. Outside, the vehicles arrived. Loud. Heavy. Armin heard doors opening, boots hitting the ground. Voices. Human voices. Area secured. Multiple readings detected. Stay alert. Armin's chest tightened. They knew something. One of the aliens shifted slightly. Armin quickly raised his hand. No movement. He whispered. The alien froze. Footsteps came closer. Closer. Then stopped. Right outside the shed, Armin stopped breathing. Voice spoke just beyond the door. This place, check it. Another voice replied, it's just a storage shed. Check it anyway. Armin's heart pounded so hard he thought they could hear it. Inside the shed, the aliens stood still like statues. Even the injured one did not make a sound. The handle of the door moved slightly. Armin felt cold. Fear run through his body. If they opened the door, everything would be over. He looked at the aliens. Their eyes were on him. Waiting. Trusting him. That made it worse. He was not a soldier. He was not a hero. Just a man with nothing. But now, everything depended on him. The door handle turned. Slowly. Armin moved. Without thinking, he grabbed a heavy tool from the side and dropped it hard on the ground. A loud metallic crash echoed inside the shed. At the same time, he shouted, "Hey! Who's out there?" The footsteps outside stopped. What the? The door did not open. Instead, the voice spoke again, now more focused. There's someone inside. Armin quickly stepped toward the door and opened it himself. Bright light hit his eyes. Soldiers stood outside, weapons ready. Armin raised his hands immediately. Wait. It's just me, he said. One soldier stepped forward. What are you doing here? I live here, Armin replied, trying to sound normal. This is my land. The soldier looked past him, trying to see inside the shed. Armin shifted slightly, blocking the view. It's empty, he added quickly. Just tools. The soldier narrowed his eyes. For a long second, no one spoke. Then another soldier called out from behind. Sir, we found something. Tracks leading away from here. The first soldier turned his head. Where? East side. The soldier looked back at Armin one last time. Then he stepped away. Stay here, he ordered. Armin nodded. I'm not going anywhere. The soldiers moved away, following the false direction. Their footsteps faded. The engine started again. Slowly. The sound disappeared. Silence returned. Armin stood still for a few seconds. Then he quickly turned and went back inside the shed. The aliens were still there, still waiting, still watching him. Armin let out a long breath. They're gone, he said quietly. The aliens did not move at first. Then, slowly, the lead one stepped forward. It looked at him in a way that felt different now. Not just trust. Respect. Something had changed. But before Armin could speak again, a low hum filled the air. Not from the ground. From above. The ships. They were moving again. And this time, it did not feel like they were waiting anymore. The low hum from the sky grew stronger. Armin stepped out of the shed again, his eyes searching the clouds. The giant ships were no longer still. They were moving. Slow, controlled, powerful. Lines of blue light ran across their surface, like energy flowing through them. Something was about to happen. Behind him, the aliens slowly came out of the shed. They stayed close together, helping their injured companion walk. They all looked up. The lead alien made a quiet sound, almost like a signal. Armin noticed the change. You called them, didn't you? He said softly. The alien did not answer, but its eyes stayed on the sky. Suddenly, a sharp beam of light shot down from one of the ships. Far away from the field. It hit the ground with a silent impact. Then another beam, and another. Armin's stomach tightened. They're landing. The air felt charged, like before a storm. The aliens moved slightly forward, their bodies tense, but not in fear. In readiness. Armin looked at them. You're not just survivors, he said quietly. You're something more. The lead alien turned its head toward him. For a moment, there was something deep in its eyes, something important. Then a loud sound broke the moment. Engines again. But this time, not from far away. They were coming back. Faster. More of them. Armin turned quickly. On the horizon, more military vehicles appeared. Bigger, heavier, armed with stronger weapons. They had not given up. They found something. Armin muttered. The aliens also saw them. The injured one struggled to stand. Straight. The others supported it. They would not run. Not this time. Armin stepped in front of them. No, he said. If you fight, they will destroy everything. The lead alien looked at him. Then at the approaching forces. Then back at the sky. It raised its hand again. But this time, the glow was stronger. Brighter. Armin single quotes as heart skipped a beat. What are you doing? He asked. The alien did not stop. The light in its hand grew, forming a small shape in the air. Symbols, patterns. Something Armin could not understand. A signal. To the ships. The response was instant. The sky lit up. The massive ships shifted position, faster now. Their energy grew stronger. Armin stepped back. This is bad. He whispered. The ground trembled again. The military vehicles stopped at a distance. Soldiers jumped out. Weapons raised. This time, they did not wait. Targets confirmed. One of them shouted, "Unknown hostiles ahead." Armin felt his chest tighten. "No," he said. He ran forward, away from the aliens, toward the soldiers. "Stop! Don't shoot!" he shouted. The soldiers hesitated for a second. "Only a second. Get back." One of them yelled, "Move away from them. They're not enemies." Armin shouted again. Behind him, the alien stood still. Watching. Waiting. The tension in the air was sharp. One wrong move, and everything would explode. The soldier in front raised his weapon. "Last warning, step aside." Armin did not move. He stood there. Between two worlds. "I won't," he said. His voice was not loud, but it was steady. For a moment, time felt frozen. Then a bright flash came from above. Everyone looked up. The ships were glowing fully now. A deep, powerful sound filled the sky. Not a weapon. Not yet. But close. Very close. The soldiers looked uncertain now. This is bigger than we thought," one of them whispered. Armin slowly turned his head. The aliens had changed. Their posture was no longer weak. Even the injured one stood straighter now. Their eyes were calm. Focused. The lead alien stepped forward. Past Armin. Closer to the soldiers. The soldiers immediately aimed their weapons again. "Hold position," their leader shouted. The alien raised both hands, not in attack. In control. The air around it began to shift. A soft wave moved outward. Dust lifted from the ground. The sound of machines faded slightly. Armin felt it too, a strange calm, like the world itself was holding its breath. Then the alien spoke. Not with words, but with something else. A sound, a signal. And suddenly, every weapon in the soldiers' hands shut down. Lights went off. Engines stopped. Silence. Pure silence. The soldiers looked at their guns in shock. What just happened? No power. This is impossible. Armin stared at the alien. His mind struggled to understand. This was power. Real power. The kind that could end wars. Or start them. The alien slowly lowered its hands. Then it turned to Armin. For a moment, everything else disappeared. No soldiers. No ships. Just them. The alien placed its hand over its chest. Again. Then pointed at Armin. Then pointed at the sky. Armin's eyes widened. "You're taking me with you?" he asked quietly. The alien did not move, but the answer was clear. Before Armin could respond, a massive beam of light shot down from the largest ship. It landed right behind them. Closer than before. Stronger. Brighter. The ground shook under their feet. Wind rushed around them. The soldiers stepped back. Fear now clear on their faces. Armin stood, frozen. This was the moment. Everything was changing. Everything. He looked at the aliens. Then at the sky. then back at the humans behind him. 2 worlds. 2 choices, and only one path forward, the light behind him grew brighter. Waiting. Calling. And deep inside, Armin knew once he stepped into that light, there would be no going back. The light behind Armin grew brighter. It was no longer just light. It felt alive, warm, but powerful. Calm, but dangerous. The wind moved around him in soft waves, pulling at his clothes. Dust lifted from the ground and danced in the air. Everything was silent. Even the soldiers had stopped shouting. Armin stood still. His heart was beating fast, but his mind felt clear. He looked at the beam of light again. It was waiting for him. Behind him, the lead alien stepped closer. It did not touch him this time. It did not need to. The message was clear. Come. Armin took a slow breath. He turned his head one last time and looked at the soldiers. They were watching him. Confused. Afraid. One of them took a step forward. "Don't do it," he shouted. "You don't know what they are." Armin gave a small, tired smile. "I think I do," he said softly. Then he turned back and stepped into the light. At once, the world disappeared. No ground. No sky. No sound. Only brightness. Armin felt weightless, like he was floating in empty space. His body did not move, but something pulled him upward. Faster and faster. His heart pounded. Then darkness. For a moment, there was nothing. And then he opened his eyes. He was no longer on his field. He stood inside something huge. A chamber. Walls made of smooth metal, glowing softly with blue light. Strange symbols moved across the surface, shifting like living patterns. The air was cool. Clean. Silent. Armin looked around slowly. He was inside the ship. One of the giant ships. The beam of light was gone now. Behind him, there was no door. No way back. Only a smooth wall, like nothing had ever been there. He swallowed hard. "This is real," he whispered. Footsteps echoed softly behind him. Armin turned. The 3 aliens stood there, but they were not the same anymore. Their bodies were no longer weak. Their skin had a faint glow. Their posture was straight. Strong. Even the one who had almost died now stood tall, its eyes clear and sharp. Armin stared. "You're healed?" he said. The lead alien stepped forward. Its presence felt different now. Not just strong. Important. Very important. It raised its hand slowly. The same soft glow appeared again. Armin tensed slightly, remembering the visions, but this time he did not pull away. The alien touched his forehead, and once again the world exploded into images. But these were not broken. Not chaotic. These were clear. Strong. A massive empire spread across the stars. Countless ships. Worlds filled with life. Cities floating in space. Power beyond anything Armin had ever imagined. Then war. Fire. Destruction. An enemy attacking from the shadows. Worlds falling. Ships burning. The empire breaking. And then escape. A small group fleeing. Weak. Starving. Hiding. Those 3. They were not just survivors. They were leaders. Royal blood. The last hope of their people. The vision ended. Armin gasped. Stepping back. "Your rulers?" he said, his voice shaking. The lead alien lowered its hand. Then slowly, it bowed. Not slightly. Fully. Deep. The other 2 followed. Armin froze. What are you doing?" he asked. The alien looked up at him, and this time Armin understood. Not with words, but clearly. "You saved us." Armin shook his head. "I just gave you food." But even as he said it, he knew it was more than that. He had trusted them when no one else would. The room suddenly changed. The walls opened. Larger space appeared ahead, a command hall. Massive screens showed the outside, the sky, the earth, and beyond that. More ships. Hundreds of them. No. Thousands. Armin's breath caught. "This is your fleet?" he whispered. The alien stepped beside him. It made a small motion with its hand. One of the screens zoomed out. More ships appeared. Endless. An entire army. An empire. Armin felt small. Very small. These were the ships above me, he said quietly. The alien looked at him. Then pointed at the fleet. Then placed its hand over its chest, and then pointed at him. Armin's eyes widened. No, I don't want that, he said quickly. I'm not a leader. I'm just a farmer. But the alien did not change. Its expression stayed calm. Certain. Another alien stepped forward and made a sound. The room responded. A voice filled the hall. Deep, powerful. Translated into simple words inside Armin's mind. This human is under our protection. Armin's heart stopped for a second. Protection, the voice continued. He gave life when we had none. Outside the ship, the fleet began to move. Slowly. Forming a pattern, a formation around Earth, guarding it. Armin stepped closer to the screen. They're protecting my world, he said. The alien stood beside him. Silent. Strong. The truth settled in. One simple act. One small choice. Food. Kindness. And now, an entire empire stood ready to protect him. Armin looked at his hands. They were still the same. Rough. Simple. Human. But his life was no longer simple. Not anymore. Because far below, on the ground he had left behind, the soldiers were watching the sky. And now, they were not looking at invaders. They were looking at something much more powerful. Something that had chosen a side, and it had chosen him. The fleet moved like a living wall around the planet. From the command hall, Armin watched in silence. Ships of every size shifted into place. Some were small and fast. Others were massive, like floating cities. Blue light connected them, forming a wide shield around Earth. It was not just a show of power. It was control. Perfect control. Armin felt a strange mix of awe and fear. This is too much, he whispered. The lead alien stood beside him, calm. As always. To them, this was normal. To Armin, it felt unreal. He looked at the screen again. Far below, the land where he had lived looked so small. His farm, his house, his simple life. All of it now under the shadow of something far greater. I didn't ask for this, he said softly. The alien turned its head toward him. Its eyes were steady. It raised its hand and gently placed it over its chest again. Then it pointed at Armin. The message was clear. You did not ask, but you deserve. Armin shook his head slowly. I just helped because you were starving. The alien did not argue. It simply stood there. Then suddenly, a sharp sound echoed through the hall. An alert. The large screen changed. New images appeared. Human. Military bases. Jets launching. Missiles being prepared. Armin's stomach tightened. They think you're attacking, he said. The alien looked at the screen. No fear, only focus. Another alien moved quickly to a control panel. Its hands moved over glowing symbols. The ship responded instantly. Outside, several ships broke formation and moved forward, not aggressive, but ready. Armin stepped closer to the screen. No, wait, he said. If you fight them, everything will get worse. The lead alien looked at him again. Armin took a deep breath. They don't understand you. They're scared. Just like I was. The alien stayed silent. Then it made a small motion. The ships stopped moving. They held their position. Waiting. Armin felt a small sense of relief. Thank you, he said quietly. But the situation was not over. On the screen, human jets were getting closer. Fast. Missiles were locked. Seconds away. Armin clenched his fists. They won't stop, he said. They'll attack no matter what. The alien watched the approaching threat. Then it looked at Armin. Waiting. As if asking him, what should we do? Armin froze. This was not a small decision. This was not about food or shelter. This was about war. About a planet. About millions of lives. I don't know, He said honestly. The alien did not move, it simply trusted him to decide. That made it harder. Armin looked at the screen. Again. The jets were now very close. Missiles ready. Time was running out. He closed his eyes for a moment. Then he remembered something. The moment he saw the aliens for the first time. Weak, hungry, dying, and now powerful enough to destroy everything. But they didn't. They chose not to. Armin opened his eyes. They need to see, he said. The alien tilted its head slightly. Show them, Armin continued. Show them you are not enemies. The alien understood. It turned to the others and gave a signal. The ship responded. Outside, the fleet changed formation again. This time, slowly. Open. Non-threatening. Weapons powered down. Lights softened. A calm signal spread outward. The jets approached. They hesitated. Armin watched closely. Come on, he whispered. One of the jets fired a warning shot. A bright streak of light moved toward the nearest alien ship. Armin's heart jumped, but just before impact, the shot stopped. Frozen in space. Held by an invisible force. The pilots must have seen it because all movement stopped. Silence. Then alien ship released the shot. Not back, not as an attack. Just let it fade away. A message. Clear. We can destroy you, but we choose not to. The jets pulled back. Slowly. Carefully. Armin let out a long breath. It worked, he said. The lead alien looked at him again. This time, there was something new in its eyes. Not just respect, not just trust, something deeper. Value. Armin was no longer just a human who helped them. He was something more, a bridge between two worlds. Voice from before filled the hall again. This human will guide peace. Armin blinked. Wait, what? He said. He looked at the alien. I'm not a leader. I don't know anything about space or war. The alien did not move. It had already decided. Armin looked back at the screen. The human jets were leaving. The danger was fading, but something bigger was beginning. He could feel it. A new path, a new roll. One he never asked for, one he never expected. He looked at his reflection on the screen. Still the same face, still the same man. But now, carrying the weight of two worlds, Armin took a slow breath. If this is my responsibility now, he said quietly, then I won't let it turn into war. The alien stood beside him. Silent. Strong. Supporting. And far above Earth. The fleet held its place. Not as conquerors. Not as destroyers, but as guardians. Guardians who had made one simple choice, to follow the human who once fed them. When they had nothing, the days that followed felt unreal. From the command hall, Armin watched Earth change. Not slowly, but all at once. The alien fleet stayed in the sky, forming a silent shield around the planet. No attacks came, no weapons fired. Just presence. A powerful, calm presence. At first, humans were afraid. Cities went quiet. News spread everywhere. People looked up at the sky, waiting for something terrible to happen, but nothing did. Instead, something else began. Communication. Armin stood at the center of it, a simple farmer. Now the only bridge between two worlds. Inside the great ship, he learned fast. The aliens helped him understand their system. Their language was not made of words, but patterns, signals, and thought. It was not easy. But Armin tried every day, because he knew if he failed, fear would return, and fear would lead to war. One morning, the large screen in the hall lit up again. A human message. Global leaders. They wanted to talk. Armin took a deep breath. This is it, he said. The lead alien stood beside him. Always calm, always watching. Armin stepped forward. The screen changed. Faces appeared. Leaders from different countries, all looking serious, careful, unsure. For a moment, no one spoke. Then one of them said, "Who are you?" Armin swallowed. My name is Armin, he replied. I'm just a human. There was silence, then another voice. Why are they here? Armin looked at the alien beside him, then back at the screen. They are not here to attack, he said. They are here because I helped them. The leaders exchanged looks. Confusion. Doubt. One of them spoke again. Help them. How? Armin gave a small, almost nervous smile. I gave them food. The silence that followed was heavy. It sounded too simple, too impossible, but it was the truth. They were starving. Armin continued, weak, alone. I didn't know who they were. I just helped. He paused. Then added softly, and now they're helping us. The leaders looked at the fleet on their screens. An entire empire, holding back, choosing peace because of one small act. A different voice spoke, slower this time. If what you say is true, then what do they want? Armin looked at the alien. Again, the alien raised its hand slightly. A soft signal moved through the room. The message formed clearly in Armin's mind. He nodded. They want peace, he said. Nothing more. Another silence, but this time it felt different. Less fear, more thought, more hope. Days turned into weeks. The fear slowly faded. People began to accept the presence in the sky. Children watched the ships with wonder instead of fear. Scientists started learning. Leaders started trusting. And Armin, he changed too. Not into a king, not into a ruler, but into something else. Guide, a voice, a reminder that even the smallest act could change everything. One evening, Armin stood alone in the command hall. The lights were soft. The stars outside were bright. The fleet was still there, silent and strong. Guarding, always guarding. The lead alien stepped beside him. Armin smiled slightly. I still don't understand why you chose me, he said. The alien looked at him. Then placed its hand over its chest. And then gently pointed at him. Armin nodded. I guess kindness matters more than power, he said quietly. The alien did not move, but its presence felt warm. Understanding. Respect. Armin looked out at the stars again. So what happens now? He asked. The answer came slowly. Not in words, but in feeling. We stay. We protect. We remember. Armin took a deep breath, then smiled. Good, he said. Far below, Earth continued its life. Peaceful. Safe. For now. Armin placed his hand on the glass in front of him. The same hands that once held a small bag of grain. The same hands that made a simple choice. He thought about that day. The hunger. The fear. The moment he almost walked away, but didn't. And now, everything was different. He spoke softly, almost to himself. I only gave them food. Behind him, the great fleet moved slightly, adjusting its position around the planet. Silent guardians in the dark. Armin watched them, his eyes calm. And they gave me the entire sky. The stars shined brighter that night. And for the first time in a long time, the universe felt a little less lonely.